Okay, hello, I'm back. I just recorded yesterday. So today I have to talk about some older stuff, not something current, because it takes always few days until something new current comes up that I can talk about that has any relation to my journey, any significant thing. But since I just started my whole channel, I still have stuff from the past that are interesting. So I want to talk about my summer 2025 dating experience after breaking up with my ex-girlfriend of 4 years who was from Iran. So yeah, after we broke up, a lot of stuff happened. First of all, I tried to immediately be on semen retention again and don't do any edging, don't do anything, because I knew now is the right time, nothing will hold me back and I can fully focus on that. Because I don't need, to train to always last long in bed or anything. I just need to find a girlfriend and everything else comes later. So no edging required, nothing required. And so I started and I was taking edibles oftentimes when I would go out to push my energy even higher. I don't say it's necessary or recommended, but I did experiment with it in early summer, not in the later summer. And I will talk about my entire summer dating experience here. So it would make the world respond to me in a different way when I was on psychoactive weed. And there was some guy who was much younger than me in the bar, and he was weird, he was so shady, he looked a bit psycho. But somehow he had high interest in being friends with me and always tried to connect. And when he saw I did not pay enough attention to him, he always got kind of pissed or even jealous, whatever. And I remember one time I went to the bar and I don't know, first of all, there was some. Okay, I have to think about with what I start. So we were in the bar and then we drove home with the bus and I just wanted to get home. But this guy was keeping annoying me. Hey, please come with me to the city. Let's hang out a little bit. Let's go play some billiards or whatever. And I really did not want to. I had no personal interest in hanging out. I just wanted to go home and sleep. It was already late. But no, he kept persisting. And in a way that normally no one wants to persist. It's completely unpolite to not let go of the other person and to not know your boundary. But he was keeping asking, let's go out. Who knows? Maybe something life-changing will happen when you go with me. Something life-changing will happen. You never know. And I was like, yeah, what the fuck? And at some point, because he did not stop annoying me, I was like, okay, we can go for one beer. So we were searching for a place to go, and there were then two girls suddenly from Finland who were searching for a place where they can pay without cash, because they had no cash and they couldn't retrieve cash at this time. So they joined us, and then we were 4 people, and we would hang out together. And we would go to a bar, and the one girl was just all the time busy getting free drinks from an older guy who tried to hit on her, so she was distracted. But the other girl was always with us and then talking to me all the time. So obviously some interest was going on there and something was building. Then we later went to another bar. The guy finally let go, the old guy, even though he thought because he was giving the drinks that he could make a hookup happen. Totally ridiculous. The girl was obviously just using him for drinks. So we went to the other bar, one of the few places that still had open at the late hour. It was maybe already 3 or 4 in the morning. And it was a place that is connected to a bordel with prostitutes. So it's a very shady bar where only the psychos go. And normally I never go there, but nothing else had open. And it was ridiculous. And it was the first time I went there. Very weird, dangerous people hanging out in this bar. But we went there and the one girl said, oh, it feels like home here. Completely funny. But yeah, I kept talking to the other girl and it happened. I took her home eventually and we got a hookup for one night. Later still she was like, hey, maybe we can see each other again, but it was obvious nothing happens because she goes back to Finland and We did not exchange any Instagram or whatever. But yeah, so I was successful, and such a hookup, I normally never have hookups. Normally, if something happens, it's because I'm in a relationship, or at least I'm dating. Not I see someone and the same night I have hookup. But this time I had hookup, and I think it's true. The guy was not lying somehow. I mean, he was not aware of what will happen, but somehow he said the right words when he said, "Come with me, maybe it changes your life." And yeah, because then it was obvious I will also not go back with my previous girlfriend after the hookup, you know? So it really changed my life. Otherwise, probably we would have again went back together and continued the whole thing, and it would take another half a year until we again decide to break up, and it would be a never-ending circle. But this way, we ended our relationship permanently for sure. Because even before, we were always not sure, should we end it, should we not end it. We were always talking. But a friend of mine, his mother is doing spiritual stuff, doing meditations in the forest and so on, and she needed me to help her out to create a flyer for her advertisement with Photoshop and so on. So I did. And then I could also have a wish for free, and my wish was that she helps us do a little therapy session, me and my ex-girlfriend, to see, relationship therapy. So we got this opportunity for free, but instead of helping us to stay together, she basically made us fall apart completely, because she said we need some time by ourselves to figure out what we want, and this is how afterwards we decided not to be together anymore after this break. And this would have never happened without a therapist. It's just funny. But it's funny because the therapist's job was actually to heal the relationship and not break it. But in the end, it doesn't matter. And then, yeah, I get my hookup, and then it's obvious the previous relationship will not be restored for sure anymore. And actually, the therapy happened afterwards, and it was just the final coin that there's no going back. We are not only broken apart, we will also stay forever broken apart. And then I had no contact with her anymore, for the most part, with my ex-girlfriend. But one time she came still around, finally. But this was later. Anyway, so I had my hookup, and then a lot of other interesting dating situations happened, where most of the time it was just like flirting, maybe exchange numbers, but nothing really happened out of it. You know, girls are always so flaky somehow in our Western society. It's just interesting to see. In the beginning, there was one girl, when I went home from the students' bar with the bus, she would take the bus with me and always talk like she's interested. And then she was saying, maybe we see each other again, some Indian girl. So I thought, okay, yeah, maybe. But then she just didn't show up anymore, and it's just so confusing how girls act. Then why you say maybe we see each other again if then you don't show up anymore? Was she expecting me to already ask her for her Instagram or what? Like, sorry, but sometimes I don't even feel like asking so quickly. I'm not even in the mood myself sometimes. So yeah, whatever. Let's see. There was another Indian girl as well at the bar, and I thought, okay, I will walk up to her and ask her about something, get into an interaction. So I go there, and I'm like, how's your name? And you know, instead of responding kindly, she's directly like, it's not how's your name, it's what's your name. Something like this. And then she looks at me, it was like a shit test, you know? And I want to argue first with her that it doesn't matter, but then I quickly realize it's completely unimportant and not necessary to argue, and I'm just brushing it off, and I'm like, whatever, do you want to play table soccer? And she was already looking with such an expectation. Will he pass the shit test or not? And I did, because I wasn't triggered, and I shifted on asking about the table soccer. So she was happy about that, and then we played. And later we were sitting, and I asked her what nail color she uses, and looked at her hand, and she was like, no, I touched her hand and was checking it out, and she said it's Indian nude or French nude, I don't know, she called the color something like this. and I said, oh, I like nude. Then we were flirting like that. But eventually we run out of words. I actually even told her something like, I'm out of words, I think. I was confident enough to not even make a secret out of this part. But because we were out of words, she was like, okay, I go, and she went away. You never know. Maybe I should have directly asked her for something more, but at least I got her Instagram. And later, when she had to leave, she also came up to me by herself and shook hands with me, like, bye. But the next day I write her because I know she goes back to India after the weekend. And she ignores, of course, my text, ghosts me. Typical girl behavior, always they have to do that. But I remember that somehow she found me on Threads later. Months later, she by herself found me on Threads, even though I don't even use Threads, because it's related to my Instagram. And very few people follow me there, but she decided to do it, and I thought, okay, that's a sign of still interest existing. And because she's Indian, I sent her a meme at one point where it's written, Mark, someone who looks good in traditional Indian clothing, and then she liked it. So yeah. I'm not saying all of this because I'm still interested in this or any other girl. I'm just providing information about the dating because I think it's also insightful to see how I personally, for example, will flirt and date and make stuff happen. As a guy, you have always to be the one that goes for reaching out, touching the hand of the girl and so on, because in many cases they will not do it by themselves. They will wait for the guy to take the lead. Okay, this was that girl, but nothing happened, and there were so many other girls. There was one blonde girl in particular. This was my main target in the beginning after I broke up with my ex-girlfriend. So this blonde German girl, one time she came and she was behind the bar with other friends just because she belonged to this friend group. And I was sitting at the bar with a friend, and we were talking and analyzing different girls. And there came one girl, a bit chubby Asian girl, but she does not look bad. And then we were talking about her, and I said, okay, yeah, she's fine, but do you know who is even much more fine? And then I was talking about the blonde girl behind the bar. But the girls heard it. And then she got first intimidated and jumped backwards and was looking at us. And I already told my friend, yeah, now she reacts like she doesn't like it or it's too much for her that we were talking like this. But later, this is exactly the reason she will be hooked and will be interested. And it was true, because later she was walking past me when I went back from toilet or whatever, and she was going to the toilet. And then she would give me such a shy smile and, giggle and whatever. So I knew I can pull her now, technically. But yeah, she had a lot of attitude and probably, what's the other word? Avoidance disorder. So it was not really possible, but I also failed on my part. I think if I would have acted differently, it would have been possible. Because the point is, I walked up to her at a later time, and she tried on purpose to draw my attention, because when she was talking and I was around, she would wave her hand suddenly into my face, like it's not on purpose, but it was obviously on purpose. So I was talking with her, asking her also for her Instagram and stuff, and she gave it to me and typed it on my phone, and she reached out with her hand, that her hand nearly touched mine, or actually was touching, I don't remember. So obvious signs of attraction. But then I was so stupid to write her the next day. This is, again, I already said in my previous video, sometimes I will do something like this, even though I know it's stupid, because I have enough knowledge already that this is not smart. But then you are caught up in the moment, and you still need to learn it sometimes, because you think it's going so well that in this moment it will be fine, and then you always fall flat on your nose. So she ghosted me, of course. And I got super pissed. Because I thought, okay, you know what? I will prove to you that you're still attracted to me, even though you ghosted me. So I was doing hardcore nofap streak, and the next time I saw her was 3 weeks later. So I show up at the bar, she's there, I'm in complete powerful nofap streak. She sees me arriving while she is sitting at the bar, and she gives me such a dirty smile, like, ha, you think you can get me, but you cannot get me, what the fuck? She gave me this dirty smile, but I'm completely unaffected because I'm doing the nofap, and I look at her like some uh, observer who is totally distant and not at all has anything to do with that, completely calm and neutral, even judging her a little bit. And she sees that, suddenly, immediately, her smile shifts into shock and surprise and even frustration. And then she cannot look at me anymore. She rolls her eyes like, "Ugh," like this, and she runs off. She runs off while everyone is around, and I can see her running off, obviously because of me. And then she didn't appear anymore. So she left the bar after that. It was the most funny thing ever. Yeah, but the problem is I also have attitude, but maybe it's not really a problem because those girls, they are not good anyway. They are not healthy, you know, you always have to perform with them and you cannot tell them that you like them. They directly get flaky. I don't know, you know, such girls are for the trash. It's somehow, you know, you cannot have a relationship with those people. Like, even if you tame them and then or after a few months they are good with you, is it really worth it? Why should I deal with such immature women? So it doesn't matter. But the point is, I have attitude after such stuff happens, and then I also don't continue to pursue. Because I think at one moment she was sitting alone at the bar, no one was there, and she was looking to my direction, like, hey, come there, and then we can talk. But I also have attitude the moment the girl shows attitude. I'm mirroring the girls always, which is basically not a bad idea, by the way, especially if you want to end up with a quality girlfriend afterwards and not with some stupid girlfriend where you have all the time to use strategies to succeed. And so, yeah, she was looking at me and I didn't walk up to her. And when I later would try again at some point to write to her, she would also continue ghosting me. And then I was so pissed that I blocked her completely on Instagram. Because this way you learn to not write anymore to them because they are blocked and you don't unblock them. And this is then healthy, then you can stay away from embarrassing yourself by again writing and she again ghosts. So this was one experience that was very significant. And then there came another girl from Sri Lanka. And that was interesting. So I went on a summer campus festival at our university. There's always a huge festival with a lot of people in summer and a lot of music and drinking. And it's amazing. So many girls there and everything. So I was there with a friend and some random blonde good-looking girl came up and we were dancing and she randomly grabbed my arm suddenly. And I felt the attraction of her and everything, but I was just like, what's up? And then she didn't really say anything about it. But later she said that she and her friend will go further into the crowd, closer to the music, and I can have her beer. And she gave me her beer and that's it. I never saw her again. But I really liked this, how she touched me, because it gave me positive energy. And then I would take this energy that she gave me and transfer it to another girl. Because I went home from the festival, not home, I went to the students' bar back, and there was this girl from Sri Lanka. And I touched her the same way on the arm. And I was like, hey, we're going to the city if you want to join. And then she was just like, okay, whatever. But she didn't join, but it was obvious she liked that I touched her like this because I made her feel special, like she's the chosen one or whatever. And then I went to the city with my friends, but without her. And the next time I go to the other bar, she is there, and she's all the time trying to be close to me, smiling at me, and talking to me. And she has a very powerful way to somehow sneakily be around me, and it looks so natural, but obviously she's doing it on purpose. Then somehow she arranged that we play beer pong together out of the blue, and then she was always touching my hands when we had to fill the beer cups and so on. Then she was always hanging around, giving me her tobacco and walking off, and then I was waiting with it, and then she came back and I gave it to her. And other girls picked up on that and got more attracted as well. One in particular, who had always attitude, was more attracted to me suddenly. Normally she's a total bitch, but this is just her way of showing attraction, that she's a bitch with me, because she always wanted me to say sorry for something that I did long ago, and since then we never talked. I remember one time I was at a birthday party, and there was this annoying bitchy girl there, and another girl was talking with me and trying to make people enter relationships, and she was telling me, hey, this girl over there is single, and she was talking about the annoying bitchy girl, and the bitchy girl was suddenly super loud, and me and him together? No, no, no way. Then she was completely overdoing it, and I told her, thanks for making it such a weird, awkward moment instead of being normal. And then she got super pissed and said, you're a narcissist! And she ran away pissed. You see, this girl has total attitude. Obviously, she was completely not neutral towards me. Honestly, I can tell you more stories about this bitchy girl. One time we were at a barbecue party, and whenever I opened my mouth, she would say passive-aggressive things. She does not even wanted me to talk at all. And the moment it started when I was flirting with another girl, because she said something about the skin color of the other girl, that it's such a dark one or whatever. I know what it was. She was explaining to the other girl that she needs to use sunscreen to protect her skin, and then I commented on the skin color of the girl. I said, but I think for her it's not such a big deal because she has such a nice, a bit darker skin color. And then the bitchy girl got super triggered and was all the time giving me passive-aggressive comments so that I stopped in front of her flirting with other women. And later, we all were going into the same car to get driven home, and there was another girl and she wanted to sit next to me because we were attracted to each other, and then it would be very nice. But the bitchy girl saw it, and then suddenly she was telling us who has to sit, because based on who leaves the car first later. And she therefore destroyed that I would sit next to the girl. She did it on purpose because she didn't like to see that. It's just really ridiculous what she did. She is such a girl. She would always, walk by and touch me on the shoulder or something, even though she was trying not to talk with me because she was pissed. Still, she was always giving me a little touch here and there. And I remember sometimes I would talk with friends about sex. I would, for example, one time say that there's something like hate fuck, when you're already angry at someone but you still have sex and the sex is still nice. And she went by and heard it and had to stumble when she was walking into the room. It's just always funny what happened with her. But even she came up to me and suddenly started talking, and she even said, I don't even know why I talk with you, but obviously I know why. It's because I was flirting with the other girl and she got triggered because she also still was interested in me. And the girl from Sri Lanka realized that I'm talking to the other girl, and she was sitting next to us on the couch, and she on purpose made herself fall backwards so that we had to catch her. And the other annoying girl with the attitude who was talking to me, she tried to catch the girl from Sri Lanka first, so that it's not me who did it and I'm not the hero in the situation. It was all funny to see. But the girl from Sri Lanka was overdoing it. She somehow was saying such stuff like, like we are now chosen to be together and we will have such a great relationship. And it was too much for me because I'm not at such a stage with her that she needs to act with me like I'm the chosen guy or whatever. It's still early stage and this was too much. You shouldn't come at the guy like this. Guys don't like when girls act like this. It's a bit too weak, like in the beginning. Later it's fine, but in the beginning they should have some mystery as well and not act like they already chose you and are head over heels. So when she was talking like this, I was just like, okay, like this, not with a positive undertone. And I think she catched this signal, and also I didn't follow up quickly enough. She told me, I remember what you did last students bar, because I grabbed her arm. And I was like, yeah, I know. And maybe I should have directly asked her to go out, but I didn't. And so I guess this is why she developed attitude. And the next time I see her again at the bar, first one time she doesn't show up at all, I think. Then I see her finally again. And she's ignoring me. And then I ask her, do we play beer pong again? And she's like, maybe later. Those girls are the most difficult. Only because I am not having such a quick pace like her, she decides to be flaky and destroy everything. Only because I trigger her ego that I'm not as quickly into her the same way she is into me. And then nothing happened at all. So it's a complete self-defeating, stupid process. She has obviously avoidant personality. She kept posting cryptic songs on Instagram all the time that are obviously hinting towards me. And one of them literally was a song by, I think, Tate McRae, where it was about, yeah, I pushed you away because there's too much to lose, so I might just lose it anyway. Totally avoidant disorder. Many girls have this nowadays. The other blonde girl, I think, also had it. And yeah, even one other that I mentioned later. So they all have this attitude, and she did very bad. Because the same night I asked her for beer pong, she says maybe later, and suddenly in front of my eyes she's flirting with another guy. On purpose to trigger me and show independence. I don't know what she thought, how I will react. Maybe she wanted me to run to her and try to save my success. But no, this is not how I act. I see this and it's unattractive. And it really triggered me. But in the moment, I was just cool about it. I looked at her like nothing happened, and she saw it in my eyes and she got surprised. Suddenly she raised her eyebrows in surprise that I'm so calm about it. But I wasn't calm, just in the moment, because I already saw a lot of female behavior. It doesn't shock me. But the next day I wake up and process the bar, and I literally had to cry because it was so... You know, you already have hopes that something is developing, and then she acts like this. It's like showing you the middle finger. It's like complete betrayal. So nothing ever worked between us because I felt so betrayed. My energy changed. You know, I still tried to reach out to her. So I tried to make something happen. I saw she was suddenly completely ignoring me at the bars. So I thought, okay, maybe because now she thinks I don't like her anymore. Because I was acting so cool when she was flirting with the other guy. So I write to her on Instagram because she didn't accept my follower request. Hey, follow me back. And she was like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. And then she followed me back. Next time I see her, I don't know, we can again talk more. She was, I think, wanting me to walk up to her, but she was with other people that I don't know, so I did not walk up to her. And because of that, she again got triggered and was all the time chilling with another guy. And I got very angry. So then I finally walk up to her, and she's so happy and smiling again and wants me to smile back in this extreme way. Probably she thought, okay, finally, now I can get him. But I was too pissed, and I guess this was a mistake that I did at this moment. But you know, ultimately, there are no mistakes. I don't need to deal with a girl who has issues. But yeah, this is how it went. So I go to her, and I have attitude. So she smiles at me in such an extreme way, and I just don't smile back and look pissed at her, basically. And I asked her, are you high again? And she's like, yeah, you know, and I asked it not in a nice way. I asked it like a judging way because she was always high and I didn't like it. And then I just suddenly turned around from her when she said that and walked up to another girl that I was also flirting with. And then she felt, of course, also betrayed, I guess. For her, it was also a smack into the face. And then we had this weird situation going on all the time. Next time, for example, I show up at the bar. She's sitting there alone at the couch. I walk up to her. First, she's happy. She already makes place so I can sit next to her. But I'm like, hey, let's go play table soccer. She stands up, but another girl comes up to us and talks to me. And so the girl from Sri Lanka gets pissed and again sits down. Then I'm done with the other girl. I again take the girl from Sri Lanka. We go finally and play table soccer. And I again ask about her being high, but this time I didn't mean it in any bad way. It was just genuine care, because I think it's not healthy that she was always high during the day, and I told her I think it's not healthy. Then she got triggered that I was saying that. She felt judged, and instead of waiting with me together at the table soccer, she crashed on the couch, and I thought this is bad behavior. So I also did not continue waiting at the table soccer, and I just left the bar and went outside. Then, when the other people finished at table soccer and it was our turn, this girl runs out because I also moved away, and she was obviously worried that I reject her. And she was like, do you come in? It's our turn. I'm like, yeah. Then we go in and we play, and afterwards she quickly vanishes. So obviously it wasn't going well and smooth anymore. She now also always showed mixed signals and had attitude. But you have to keep in mind, she's the one that started everything. I was trying to make something happen, but I had a lower pace, okay, but this was normal. I wasn't acting on purpose and playing games. And then she was flirting with other people in front of my nose, you know? So she destroyed it all by herself. Yeah, well, then there was another girl. By the way, the girl that I was talking to when I moved away from the girl from Sri Lanka, it was a girl from Italy. Let's talk about her quickly. She's also funny. So, one time I go to the bar. She was doing the bartender. I asked her for some drink, whatever she gave me, and I don't know, somehow I wanted to show her that I have a lot of the beer coupons. You get coupons, and then when you have the empty bottle of beer, you get back some money when you give it back together with the coupon. So she gave me a coupon, and I wanted to show her that I already have so many of them, but it was out of context. You know, there was some context, I don't remember why. So I was like, hey, and made her look and wanted to show her in my purse. But first she thought I would just ask her for her number or something, and she already was like very protective and basically shaking her head like no. You know, I don't know why girls do that they directly have to be like this, probably because it's not the right timing, it was too early to ask for a number or whatever, and this is why she was directly so protective. But this is not what I had in mind. I just wanted her to show my coupons, and when she realized, she was fine with it, and we had the positive interaction. And then next time I was talking to her, I talked to her a few times. She got also interested in me because we were playing table soccer, and she can mostly speak only English, but I told to my friend that she plays very good. I said it in German, but she understood it, and she felt so validated, and then she was interested into me. Me, on the other hand, I flirt with many girls, and I don't even keep track of all of them, so I completely forgot about her. And this is, I think, why she got super interested, and then she was always giving me looks on purpose and smiling at me so that I pay attention again. Yeah, girls like to, if the guy pays attention to them, and it triggers them if the guy suddenly does not pay attention. So this is the power that I have. My power is that I don't pay attention because I just forget about the girls, and then they see that, and then they get extra triggered and want to gain my attention back. So she was always passing by me and giving me a smile and so on. I thought, okay, let's see, maybe something happens here. But at some later point, I walk up to her because, I don't know, I always try to talk with her. Sometimes she even was okay with playing table soccer with me. I thought, okay, it's going well. But then always she was vanishing by herself again. Whenever an interaction happened, she quickly again vanished, like running away from me. I don't understand this weird push-pull game. At one point I had enough, I finally walk up to her and I'm just straight like, hey, how about, I think I already had her on Instagram. I was like, how about we go out one day? And she was like, me and you? But she was not like no, but she was also hesitant and not saying yes to it. You know, just completely like hesitant and neutral without giving a clear answer. I already understood this is probably a no, nothing will happen, and I directly told her, I only ask you this one time, and if nothing happens, then nothing happens, then I'm away. And nothing happened, of course. She didn't write to me, I also didn't write to her. Because she didn't make me feel in the way that I should write to her, it didn't already look like it's going somewhere. I'm sure if I would have written her, she would have said, oh, I'm already busy. So I didn't do anything, and then I kept ignoring her. And I think for her it was obvious day and night how I changed my attitude towards her, and yeah. I think I humbled her. For me, it's always important to humble women. This is part of my journey because women have a lot of attitude and they feel so entitled in Western society, especially. And I humble them and teach them a lesson that you cannot do this with the guys that are of value. Also, this girl, the blonde German girl, where I walked in and she had to run away because she realized that I don't care about her at all in the moment. I humbled her hardcore because she was one of those 10 out of 10 model type, and I'm sure she never received such a treatment, so I think I really humbled her and I'm very proud of it. Oh my god, I have so much dating story. Oh, I don't know if I'm even half through. I'm already getting out of breath here. Fuck. Let me drink a sip of tea. I remember one time my ex-girlfriend showed up again because It was her final time in my city. I needed to bring her in a luggage, all the remaining stuff from her. And then she would show up afterwards, the day after or 2 days later, at the bar, at the students' bar, even though she knows I will be there. And she was checking what am I doing. And I was in very good energy because I realized she came because of me, and I was very performative suddenly and could socialize very well with all the people. It just made me happy to see that she came because of me, you know. And then I was flirting with a lot of girls there, and whenever I was flirting with another girl, I saw from the corner of my eye how my ex-girlfriend would suddenly glance over to me. But this is the last time I ever saw her. At first I walked up to her, to my ex-girlfriend, and I was like, oh, I didn't recognize you. You came because of me, right? And I think this was too outspoken, too in her face, so she did not want to admit it, and she was just like, can you please go away? And then I walked away, and I thought it's so retarded. She came because of me, obviously, and then she says, can you please walk away? So stupid. I mean, yeah, she came there with her friends, but she knew I will be there, and she would not come if she did not want to see me. It's very obvious, you know. Um, yeah, and the same evening, there came suddenly a group of girls, and we were playing beer pong against them. And afterwards, I was playing table soccer with all of them. And the one was next to me, and we were all already super drunk. And then she was somehow like, "What happens when we win?" And I think I should have probably said, "Yeah, you give me your Instagram, or we go to the city and we drink something." But I just said, "You kiss me." And then she was like, ha ha ha. And she felt good about it, but still she did not want to do it because it was too extreme for her. So she was like, I'm not going to kiss you right now, or whatever. And I was like, okay, then we just hug. And then we hugged at the end, and I hugged her like kind of sexually, like very strongly. But I was too much in a performative flirt mode. So I didn't realize maybe I could really make something happen, because the moment I was finished with hugging, I walked away from her. I could have maybe talked to her, you know, but I thought, okay, now I maybe lose my positive charisma if I continue to try to make something happen. This often happens to me. I don't want to look like a loser who tries and gets rejected, so I walk away before I even try. And in this case, I also did it, and then nothing happened, but I still felt great about it because it was a flirty interaction. But I think maybe something more could have happened if I would just stayed there and continued talking to her. The problem is, for me, it's hard to believe that girls are attracted to me. Even though I see it all the time, I still feel like I can at any moment change it again through a stupid, wrong interaction. I guess this is my issue. But I always try to be so perfect, and this is why oftentimes I would avoid even looking at women, because I don't want to show weakness, and that I am also, to some degree, wanting something, and that she can reject me and therefore weaken how I feel about myself. So I don't want to give women this opportunity in many cases, and will avoid looks or flirting if I don't feel completely safe and feel completely that it will go somewhere. But this is also a reason why in the end I always attract the best girlfriends, because it's the ones that really make me feel safe and where it flows completely naturally. So it's not a complete flaw, I have to say. It just keeps away all of these hookup stories that other retainers are talking about, where they say, yeah, it's completely unnecessary, empty, soulless hookups. They don't happen for me. Even that one hookup that I had in the past, it was still more than just a hookup. I had a good connection with the girl, but she just moved away again to Finland, so yeah, it didn't continue, but it was more than just a hookup. Back to the girl from Sri Lanka. Kind of. Actually, at that time, I was flirting with another girl. We get to the girl from Sri Lanka in a moment, because there's more. But there was this other girl, Turkish German. It's the one that I was doing a lot with her before I met my current girlfriend. It's the one I mentioned previously, who eventually moved to Japan, the Turkish German girl. And I was trying to get her through a sexual angle. When I was chatting with her, I would always say something sexual. I would say, yeah, move your ass over to here and there. I don't know how I started, but somehow it was easy to. I found an easy way in. because we already knew each other, so I could talk in such a flirty way and talking about body parts of her in a sexual way. I said I missed your ass last time. I don't know, because she didn't show up or something. And later she accused me of being a pervert. And I think it's so stupid that she did that, because obviously I got her exactly through this. So I don't know what she's complaining about. It worked. She was obviously interested in it. It doesn't make any sense. But then she was all the time also flaky. I was asking her, hey, do we go out? And she said, like, maybe. I cannot hear maybe. You know, if I ask, do we go out? I want yes or no. This really annoys me when guys do like this. They show zero respect with this behavior. It's like, I don't care about you. I can say however I wish, and I don't care how you perceive it, because you're not that important. Please tell me, how am I supposed to take such a person serious who treats me like this? I will also treat her bad afterwards, right? Because why should I treat her well if she treats me like shit? I don't understand how girls don't get that. Anyway, my hunting instinct got triggered, and so I was trying to make something happen. But she always gave me the attitude and was flaky, and then I also was having attitude and ignored her and didn't follow up on my plans. I asked her, do we do something? And then she said something like, maybe. And I also heard from a common friend that she was thinking about asking other people to join. This is always the most embarrassing thing women can possibly do. It's when you meet them and you want to have a date, and then they don't feel comfortable and they invite friends to the date and destroy the date, and then you have to act like everything is fine and smile with all of them, but actually you just feel embarrassed and you want to get away from there because obviously you wanted to date and she just it's like a humiliation. So I hate this behavior, and I just heard her thinking about such a thing. And then she wrote to me, yeah, we cannot meet today because I realized there's the city festival and I want to go there with my friends. I thought, like, okay, awesome. I'm not important enough. And obviously I really am not important enough that she was like this. But it's just not very nice if someone in your face is being like this with you. So I really got pissed, and in the same message she was like, but maybe we can meet tomorrow for a coffee. This is what she wrote. But I got pissed and I thought it's already like a rejection, even though she still wants to meet for something else. I thought, okay, she's probably just doing this so that I don't feel bad, not because she likes me. So I ignored her, and then we just saw each other at the house party of a friend. It was the coolest thing because it was a pool party, and this pool parties always get very escalative. When it gets late, people get super drunk and they have sex at night in the pool. They run around naked. It's the craziest parties, honestly. And during previous such pool parties, I was still in a relationship with my ex-girlfriend, and I always felt like I'm missing out because I cannot partake in this fun. Yeah, you can call me, I don't know, immature, not a real retainer for this mindset, but this is how I am, and I'm not that hardcore, but I just felt I was a bit missing out, and I wanted to some degree, just partake in everything. I don't say I need to have sex in the pool, that's not me, but just also go into the pool and flirt. This was what I wanted to do. And so finally, this time in last summer, I could do it. I took my clothing for swimming. Oh, one moment before I continue. This recording will now finish. We don't have currently more material from Dark Souls. I will turn on some other game in a moment. Okay, so finally I go to the pool party and I can participate. One girl was obviously interested into me. The moment she heard I go to the pool inside, she was like, oh, I need to go home and also get my swimming stuff. But I was not that interested into her. She was also Turkish. No, I was more interested in her Turkish friend who was giving me the flaky mixed signals already. Yeah, and she was also going into the pool and trying to get my attention. But I was mostly ignoring her because she pissed me off. And another girl came who is friends with my best female friends, and so it was easy to connect with her. And then I was instead always arguing with her. Not arguing, I was always flirting with her. I was sitting in the pool with her, and I saw we have a good vibe. And so at some point when we went home, the other Turkish girl saw obviously that I'm now more invested in that new girl who is German. So that's always good. It's always good if a girl sees that you have something going on with another girl. They are then more attracted because they see you have options. Anyway, the pool party ended and the German girl offered me to drive me home. So I was like, yeah, thanks. She drives me home and then I'm like, if you want, you can come up with me. She comes up with me, we have sex. And then she directly wants to be together with me, making it obvious, hugging me in such a way like we can be partners. After the breakup from my ex-girlfriend, I already had something going on with a Chinese girl, first of all. But the Chinese girl went on a trip away, I don't know, for a month she was away, I guess. And we were still not officially together, we were just dating, and she was not too attractive for me. And in this time the whole pool party and everything happened, and so I was flirting with other girls. And this is when the German girl came, so we had sex, and with the Chinese girl I never had sex, because she's still a virgin, even though she was like 26. And so I had sex with the German girl and I wrote to the Chinese girl like, hey, sorry, it doesn't work anymore because I found someone else and I think it fits better. Because you are too insecure and too virgin and you want everything to be so slow and you're so inexperienced that whenever I touch you, you don't know how to react and you're too shy. It was really difficult with her. She was completely too shy and too passive. And she made me a bit feel like I'm, abusing her just because she was so passive. It just doesn't feel good. It feels like you are doing something with a little child, even though she's 26. So yeah, she was not on my level. So I dropped the Chinese girl and went for the German girl. And it went on for a while, but the German girl was also a bit chubby. I remember one time she was sitting on me. I thought that on the corner of the chair where I was sitting, because she was pushing on my leg, that my leg would be cut. So she was too heavy a bit, and she also was not very flexible. When she was younger, she was very attractive, one of the very attractive thin blonde girls, but she got some weird heart issue or whatever it was. And so she was half of the time just needing rest and lie in the bed, and it was, I don't know. She was a very experienced, good kisser and stuff like this, but she was just very immobile, always in bed, and I don't know, not for me. And then she was complaining about some other guy that she dated previously and that he had such a small dick, and she tried multiple times and he came too quick, so she did not continue with him. And I also thought it's such a stupid reason because it has nothing to do with love. And I thought, okay, it's not my job now to be with her while she is so exhausted and not very fit anymore. I can find someone better, and why should I deal with her? I don't have no responsibility. So I did not continue with her. And it was exactly at the same time that I did not continue with her. I did it because I already realized now I can make something happen with the Turkish girl from before. Because I went to the bar and this Turkish girl was there. And because previously I ditched her and I didn't go on a coffee date with her, now she got triggered and now she suddenly was super interested and wanting to make something happen with me, suddenly. So in the bar, she was seeing that I want to go out and she was in the way. She was like, hey. I was like, hey. She was like, do you go out? I'm like, yeah. She was like, should I follow you? And I was like, yeah, okay, follow me. So she went out with me and then she was talking with me about what's going on, asking me why the breakup from my ex-girlfriend happened, and that I shouldn't act like she does not want me, the Turkish girl, because obviously she asked me for a coffee. So she wanted to make sure that, yeah, I understand she wants something as well. And she explicitly told me that now it's more important for her, that now she really wants to make something happen and also go out at night to the bar. See, only because I was also mirroring her and sending mixed signals and didn't care about her anymore and was able to drop her, suddenly she got more interested. This girl has real issues. This girl has complete avoidance disorder. That's her problem. So the moment you show interest, she gets flaky as fuck. The moment you don't, then she wants something. And she was coming so close to show that she's interested. She was pushing her chest towards my arm and everything. and and the Sri Lanka girl saw that, and so I saw that she saw it, and even the tall blonde German girl from previously who gave me attitude and ghosted me also saw it, and she was giving me a checking look as if she wanted to see if I still have any interest in her as well. Because I completely forgot about her, honestly. But the Sri Lanka girl also, I saw she saw me. I know it has a good effect on girls' attraction if they see someone else is interested in you. So I thought, okay, let's see what happens with the Sri Lanka girl. Because the Turkish girl already went home, Sri Lanka girl was still there. I'm still not decided who I want to be with, so I can still flirt around, obviously. I still can date and it's not betrayal or anything. I have no relationship, I'm single, I can do whatever I want. So I go to the Sri Lanka girl and I'm cocky. I'm very, very cocky because I'm drunk and because I know that I just made a positive impression on her and probably triggered her attraction and her fear of losing me. So I go up to her, and I directly in a cocky way ask her, "Nah, are you high again?" And she is smiling and like, "Yeah, I'm high," but she is hiding her triggeredness behind the smile because she does not like the question, and so it was not the smartest thing, I guess, to ask her. Because then we all had to go home, and I wanted to join her and her group because we needed to go in the same direction anyway. But she was like, "You can already go forward. Like, I should go first." So it was a kind of funny but mean way to tell me to fuck off and go alone. And I assume to some degree she did it because she was overwhelmed and she wanted to get one back up on me. It's like a power play. She does not want to be like the weak one, even though she's attracted. But I got super triggered that she pushed me away like this. I thought finally something might happen, and then she gave me such an answer, and I was super angry. Because I also was chatting with a friend of her who is gay, because I used him a little bit as a way to get close to her as well. So we were always chatting on Instagram a lot, and he came up and I told him how she acted, and then he supported her because they're like besties, and he told me, no, I really should go. And then I got super angry. I go home with someone else, and then I write to the gay guy on Instagram, yeah, what she did was not fine. Don't you think she's total bitch? Something like this. But I said biatch. I didn't say bitch, I said biatch to make it a bit more lighten up. I wanted to make it obvious that I'm not super, super pissed, I'm not super hateful, but I wanted at the same time to make a little cocky insult. But then they made a voice memo where you can hear the girl from Sri Lanka in the backwards like laughing, and they make a voice memo that I should, you know, get my life together because I'm 30 years old and I have a daughter. Because previously I told him, if there's one thing I don't like you to use your dark humor for, is to make jokes about my age and me being father. And then he did exactly this on purpose because he wanted to, I don't know, like make me understand I should stay away after that I said biatch. But then I got triggered and I was arguing with them on Instagram. I was writing to the friend, I just don't think it's okay how she acted, but I'm fine now. I just wanted to make my point. Bye. And then he was also just like, yeah, it happens. Bye. And then I never talked to him on Instagram again, but I made my point. And guess what? The next time I go to the bar, this girl from Sri Lanka, because I basically rejected her and called her a biatch, it's like a rejection, right? Suddenly she was super interested into me because she wanted to restore something positive and because she's also having the avoidance disorder. So she was all the time smiling at me when she was walking by and looking into my eyes in a flirty way. Like, those girls are really cooked, completely cooked. You need to treat them bad and they suddenly want you and are all over you. But it was a constant back and forth, because I was, for example, again later going to the bar, and I know she's interested in me, so I look her dead in the eye with such a smile, like, I know I got you. And she gets so shy and uncomfortable and doesn't know how to react and looks into every direction and walks off. It's so funny. And then next time I'm at the bar, she comes around and she wants to get one back on me because she does not like to be exposed like this. So she looks at me and shakes her head. And I look around to see, is she about someone else or is it about me? So she was shaking her head, like rejecting me to show me that I'm not that powerful and I'm not just a normal guy and I should be a bit more humble. But then later she again shows interest, another time. I'm at the toilets waiting to go inside. She also comes and she asks me like, yeah, is the toilet empty for girls or not? And I just look at her because I already don't know how to talk with her anymore. Because every time I talk with her, nothing happens and we still are not dating. And so I just look pissed at her because last time she was shaking her head and I don't know anymore what to do. So I just give her this testing look like, bruh, what do you even want from me? This is how I was looking at her. Yeah, and then later she was again trying to get my attention, waving from far away so happily suddenly to see me, and I like, are you even about me? Why are you waving? We didn't talk for weeks now. So I look around to see if she's waving at someone else, and then she again walks past me and later and like, hey, and smiles at me, and I'm still pissed, but she's smiling at me and looking and waiting, and so I'm eventually lighting up and smiling back at her like, yeah, okay, whatever, like this. And I tell my friend, this girl really gives me the rest. I don't know how to deal with her at all. Yeah, so I thought, okay, actually, she's getting more outspoken and tries to make finally something happen. And at this time, there was also a friend of her arriving in the bar environment and was also hanging out all the time with us. And with her, it was easier. You know, first we had normal interactions. She was complaining about some guy that the guy was saying improper stuff about how girls are or how girls from a certain nationality are. I forgot where she's from. Ah, I remember. How is it called? It's like a. How is this place called?
There's a couple in the
The country has a red flag and an eagle on the Albania. Yeah, she was from Albania, and I think he said something bad about the culture also, but he was just trying to flirt and it was awkward. So I told her, I think it was just way of trying to flirt and he does not know how to do it properly. With this little comment, I already basically told her I know how to flirt, unlike this other guy, so I already made good attention. And I saw she treats me very friendly and everything, but in the beginning it was just friendly, like in the positive way, like obviously with some attraction, but no real flirting. But at some later point, we talk at the bar, and it was cold, and I don't know how it happened, but I just somehow told her she would look good in a latex costume. I said it because it was completely in the flow, and this is the best flirting, when you're just in the flow and you really want to say something and you do it, and then it hits very well because it's such a sexual comment. After that, she got very interested. We met again with many like friends, our friend group, and she was there. And so she was keeping asking me questions about what music do I like, what sports do I like, a lot of stuff. So it was obvious she wants to make something happen. And then still, because I didn't ask her out directly, the same evening, she was sitting next to a friend, and he had a cat in his hand. And she was petting the cat, but in a way that she nearly touched his fingers all the time and then actually touched his fingers. So it was the same thing the Sri Lanka girl did, but not as extreme. You know, this flirting in front of the guy that you want, flirting in front of him with another guy. So for me, this is a small red flag, to be honest. When girls do this, I lose some interest and attraction. Yeah, eventually I was talking both to the Sri Lanka girl and to the other Albania girl. So they both thought something might happen. And another girl already arrived at this time from France, but she was too young. She was just about to turn 18 in a week or so. But you know, too young for me, like honestly. I don't have a general problem with young women, but she also did something that I consider a personal red flag. I was out at the bar at the round table, and she was also there, this French girl. And then some other dude showed up randomly and awkwardly, and I wanted to talk with her. And she directly understood that he wants just to flirt, and she just shook her head, and then he went away again. And it was such a tense, embarrassing situation, and I only thought about how the guy must felt. So yeah, of course, she does not need to talk to any guy. I understand that, but I don't think it's just very good how she was not even answering him at all. There are other ways you can deal with someone. If someone comes up to you and asks you, even though you don't want to flirt with him and you don't want to give him hopes, you don't need to completely reject him like this, in my opinion. So it gave me a sour taste already, and it lowered my perception of her, because I think she handled it a bit too rude. But yeah, whatever. I mean, I still was fine with her, but she just was not the most interesting girl for me compared to other girls. Because there were also the girl from Sri Lanka and the girl from Albania, and I had good interactions with both of them. I was eventually able to also talk again with the girl from Sri Lanka, finally walk up to her during my perfect bar, where I was on a very high streak after my last dry orgasm was 3 weeks ago. I was on a very elevated streak, so everyone was paying attention to me. One girl was just tapping me from behind by mistake, as if, but it was not really a mistake. So I turn around, it was some Chinese girl as well. And I was like, hi, and she was like, hi. But then I didn't make anything happen, because I don't understand why I always have to walk up to girls and do all the work. I don't really feel like doing it, and then you still get mixed signals, and in many cases I just don't care. Then another girl came to our group and was asking me something, and I completely ignored her by mistake. I didn't even realize she asked something, and then she walked away again, and my friend was like, dude, this was so awkward for her. And I'm like, really? I didn't even realize. And later she again came and we were talking, but she was not the most interesting for me. She was Mexican, but not the most attractive in my opinion, even though she improved her style later, I really have to say. But yeah, so while I was talking to her and another friend came by, I decided to leave her with that friend. Maybe he can make something happen. But I decided to go to the girl from Sri Lanka because she was alone behind the bar and seeing us. So I was talking to her instead. It was fine. But at some point she got distracted by someone's order and didn't come back to me to continue talking. And I also thought, I don't know, somehow this girl is still not really cooperating and making something happen. And so I walked away. And then the girl that is now my girlfriend showed up for the first time, the girl from Japan. And she was very straightforward. You know, there's a common friend that we have, a Russian, and he suddenly had a Japanese girlfriend again, Chinese Japanese, and he came to me and said, look, I finally have a girlfriend, it's so cool. I mean, not finally, he's a very successful guy with girls, but he just said, oh, I now have a girlfriend. So he introduced to me his girlfriend, and her other friend is the girl that I'm now together with, the other Japanese girl. And so we introduced all each other, and then my now girlfriend came up to me later and asked me for my Instagram, and yeah, so I thought, wow, that's so nice that she reaches out by herself, and for once I don't have to do all the work. And you know, then I do the work with motivation. Then I still am the one that writes to her on Instagram and makes a date happen, but it's because I already feel validated and positive, and not like I'm the only idiot that tries to make something happen like it's a job interview. You see, this is what I don't like. But she did it very nicely. And then I remember I was at the bar in the main area, and there was the girl from Sri Lanka and the girl from Albania, both together. And then the Japanese girl had to leave after already we shared our Instagram. And she gave me a hug and I said bye. And then I turn around and I see that both the Sri Lanka and the Albanian girl look at me like fish out of water, like surprised and like, oh damn, I think he found someone. Okay, yeah, and then I got her. Okay, other than that, I now shared a lot of stories, you know. Maybe just two more small things, or maybe even some more. First of all, yeah, okay, there's a lot of stuff. Oh my god. I did twice cold approach. It's really not that good. I mean, I know it can work, of course. I saw videos on YouTube where people do it successfully, but for me, it's just not the real thing. One time I did it when I was on the street and I saw that the girl was looking at me in an attracted way, so I decided to follow her into a perfume place because she went there. So I was walking there and asked her, and she still was attracted, but she was playing this game of I have a boyfriend. I don't know if she had a boyfriend or not, but she was bringing it up. So I thought, like, what a waste that I even told her that I'm interested in anything. And so I went away. Oh, actually, I was doing cold approach 3 times. I also did it once during a rooftop party of the dormitory. I went also to a girl who was from Ukraine. But she also acted so suspicious directly and told me like she does not understand why I come up to her randomly. But then I was asking her about her music and she lightened up. It was obvious that she got more into the flow of talking to me. But then later, when I had nothing to say anymore, I still went away and it was done. I think if I would see her more often, something could have developed like in a positive way. But it was not my normal dormitory anyway, so I didn't even see her again. Just for including everything. I cannot even tell you all the stories. Oh my god, there were too many stories. There was also another girl on this rooftop, and then we exchanged Instagram. But then also she wouldn't follow up when I asked her to go out because she was asking me, do we go alone or with friends? It was obvious she did not want to go alone, but whatever. And with the other girl, I did very stupid because she was in the bus and it was at night and I was going to the students bar and I saw she saw me and so she goes out and I also go out and I ask her for her Instagram and it was very stupid because it was at night. You shouldn't do this no matter how high your nofap energy is, and mine was very high. This is why I did it. I thought because of my high energy it will have positive results, but it was a big mistake because at night she gets scared because she does not know why a stranger guy randomly comes up to her. So it was a mistake and I again felt embarrassed. She said like, I don't do such stuff. I don't give my my Instagram to strangers. So I walked away and I felt so embarrassed I did it. But my energy was still high because it was just high in general, so everyone was paying a lot of attention to me. I remember I was later in the bar. I was a bit in the corner because I was still processing what happened and I did not want to socialize too much. But there were 2 girls, for example, in front of me that I don't know them. And then friends of me came and they asked me to join them for a shot. Yeah. And so they were like shouting my name. And then the girls both turn around, like super interested and look into my eyes, like I'm some highly important person, VIP, So yeah, I was still in high energy. And it's funny, after that I got too frustrated because of the rejection. This is why you should be very careful with cold approaches. But if it doesn't work, then you feel so rejected that you maybe even relapse or something. I know I did some kind of relapse, and but it was, I think, a micro relapse or something. And then I was a bit frustrated, but suddenly some girls liked me even more because they felt less intimidated by me, and I was again more socializing and less monk mode and less just by myself. So I remember explicitly that 2 girls always paid more attention to me when I had a micro release. And one of them was too much into me, even though she had a boyfriend. The boyfriend that I mentioned previously, who does not believe in the Bill Gates' evil vaccine conspiracy stuff that I mentioned. So she was his girlfriend back then, but she was so interested into me only because, I don't know, I made her feel special in the past because when we were talking at the bar, I couldn't hear her, and I told her, let's go out where it's not that loud. And then we were sitting there by ourselves and talking, and I think this somehow created some romantical tension in her, and that's why she liked me so much. And then she wanted me to check out the book that she gave as present to the guy on whose birthday party we were. And she wanted me to do it so badly, and I even had to tell her, I don't want to do it right now, I'm not interested. I don't know, she was so over me, and her boyfriend even got triggered because she was more talking with me than with him. And then later he gave me attitude. But nothing happened, and it's not my fault if she's like this. And yeah, before I met all of these girls, the girl from Sri Lanka, nearly something happened with her. Nearly something happened with the girl from Albania. Nearly something happened with the girl from France, who even asked me if I go to the dormitory event from where she lives, and I did not. And then really something happened with the Japanese girl. This happened all 3 weeks after my latest dry orgasm, and then I went on a very decent, nice streak. And before that, I was always trying to manifest a good girlfriend. And I used a chain, Iranian chain. It has a lot of pearls on it. And you have to say God is great in Iranian. You have to say Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Behache Bismillah Rahman Rahim. And then every time when you say it, you move one of the pearls, and you have to do it until all pearls from the chain are moved, and there are a lot. I don't know how many. 99? I don't know how many. And then you do it once during a day, and the next day you have to do it twice. The next day you have to do it 3 times, and you do it until you have something around 42 or maybe even 45, I think, days. And so on the 45th day, you have to do it 45 days. But this takes way too much time, so I was splitting it. No problem. I wasn't so strict. I was saying if I have to do it 10 times a day and my day is busy, I just do it throughout multiple days until I have 10, and then I go to the next step where I have to do 11. This is how I was doing it. And I was keeping a list where I was with little stripes by my pen, always counting how many times I already said the prayer today. The Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Behache Bismillah Rahman Rahim. I was also walking around and doing it while I was in the forest and stuff like this when no one was seeing me. Yeah, and this is how I wanted to manifest the perfect girlfriend. And directly after I did the ritual, I interacted. This is when I went to the pool party and I met the German girl. And don't get me wrong, the German girl is not the perfect girl for me or something. It's just like the manifestation started to work and suddenly the ball started to roll. And she was like the first step. And because I was with her, I don't know, from her I could transition to the Turkish girl. And from the Turkish girl, I could finally transition to the girl that is now my partner, to the Japanese girl. This is all I'm trying to say, that after I was done with the ritual, the energy built up quickly and a lot of stuff started to happen very quickly, and then I got my girlfriend. Okay, now I was really saying a lot. Okay, there's one more thing, it's just... some stuff is just important, you know. First of all, a good dating tip for beginners: be delusional. Delusion is power. You need to believe that girls can be attracted to you and that girls are attracted to you. Then you will start to also notice it when girl really shows attention. Because otherwise you're one of those guys who later asks, oh, was she attracted to me? Don't be that guy. You lose out on a lot of opportunities. Always try to think through the layer of attraction, even if it's sometimes delusional. This just is like a manifestation technique. For example, you sit somewhere and a girl puts her foot in a way that your foot and her foot is touching. With shoes, whatever. Don't think this is by mistake. These girls know exactly what they do. They are very careful of sending wrong signals, and she notices if your foot and her foot are touching. You know, of course, sometimes it might be delusion. I don't say it's always correct, but in general, it works in your favor. Delusion is a superpower if used with a bit of discernment, of course. And the other thing I wanted to say is that before I finally started to attract all those girls, the girl from Sri Lanka, the girl from Albania, the girl from France, and ultimately my girlfriend from Japan. Before I went on this 3-week streak after the dry orgasm, not before, like really shortly before I went together with my Japanese girlfriend, I had an LSD trip with friends of mine who are spiritual, and I was heavily processing the last big remnants of my attachment towards my ex-girlfriend. Because LSD makes you be able to process your feelings, but in a very neutral, analytical, distanced way somehow. And so I was heavily processing and letting go of a lot. um, that I still had. You know, I could just let go of her and be in peace with what happened, and I was crying a lot and so on during the LSD trip. So I made space in my heart and emotions for a new partner to come in. Oh yeah, there was another girl also, some other blonde feminist girl. I reached out to her on Instagram, wrote to her, gave her a compliment. I said, hey, you look like an actress, blah blah blah, like the one from Titanic. And she was so happy. But then later I wrote something again and she ghosted me. And I was pissed at her. And then she didn't show up for like over a month. And suddenly she again showed up and wanted to show that she's interested now because I passed her test of staying away and not talking with her anymore. So she walks up to me and it's like, oh, so good that I called you. I wanted to talk, blah, blah, blah. But I was rejecting her because she also made fun of a friend for no reason and rejected him in a bad way. Someone accused her of being attracted to him, and she, in front of everyone, said, look at me and look at him, and was laughing. So I thought, what a bitch. And so I also gave her the cold shoulder afterwards. And by the way, also, when I was at the bar, at the pool party, sorry, I'm all over my place with my thoughts. When I was at the pool party in summer, and I was inside of the pool, there were also two other girls who obviously had interest. The one wanted me to make something happen in the past, but I didn't do anything, so she got together with another guy. And the other one, I was flirting a bit with her via Instagram, but I just didn't follow up. The one is German, the one is also Asian from somewhere. And those two, they were like little children. They walked into the house and they were walking up the stairs and looking out of the window so that they can spy on me because I was without my shirt and I was in the pool. And you know, I do workout, so I have a very fit, trained body and I have muscle. And they were looking there, and the moment I saw them, they were trying to hide suddenly from the window. It's just all very ridiculous. Oh yeah, and when I was with a Turkish girl dating, also a friend of her who is also feminist and always nagging about guys by herself, found me on Instagram, reached out to me, and wanted to make a relationship happen. And I told her I have a daughter, and then she was making some joke about it, and I told her, you can call me daddy. And she answered, but only if you wine and dine me and take care of me. And then I was like, yeah, I can do that, whatever. Uh, but still, it fizzled out because I did not ask her out directly and I still wanted to continue chatting. And she just responded with a laughing smiley. Like, oh, this is not the right way. You should already ask me for a date. Didn't I make it obvious? Well, my dear friend, maybe I don't want to go out with you yet, you know? So then I didn't continue with this girl because what the fuck? I don't need to act the way they want, and otherwise I miss my moment. You know, I don't play by these rules. This is up on the girls, it's not my fault. And that same girl had such an attitude towards guys, always saying, yeah, they all are bad, they don't know how to talk, they don't know how to show that they are interested, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. I can see definitely that you're the issue here, not the guys. So, what on earth? In general, it is completely weird. That Turkish girl, she basically brought in all the other girls. Not only because of her did this other girl reached out who is feminist, but even another friend of her also reached out to me. And she was like, oh yeah, we are nearly neighbors. I live in the house directly in front of your house. Maybe you can help me one day to carry the washing machine. And I was like, I was already in a relationship at this point, and I told her, I can still help you with the machine if you really need help, but other than that, nothing will happen. And then she was, of course, like, oh yeah, I understand. Okay, okay. But that's it. I think now I really said everything. See ya. Like, share, subscribe for more content on spirituality, fighting the devil, dating, and the science of semen retention. Bye.